Hey everybody, how's it going? This is FitSpaz Recovery, and this is a spontaneous thing I'm doing right now. It's Saturday night, and I'm going to go out in a little while and spend some time with my friend Jennifer. What's up, Jennifer? If you watch this, you'll hear me mention you. What's up? Shout out to Jennifer. But I was actually discussing something in the last podcast that I thought was interesting. I asked people, do you think that you can have a good day if you're not smoking marijuana? And if the answer is no, I think you have a problem. And so this is what I'm going to talk about in this brief recording right here. And it boils down to the 12 questions of Marijuana Anonymous. The following questions may help you determine whether marijuana is a problem in your life. Okay, and I'll go through and I'll ask them, and I'll tell you how it boils down for me on these things, and be honest with yourself. Ask yourself if this is true honestly. Otherwise, you're not going to get anything out of it if you're just sitting there lying to yourself. And it's not for me. Do this for you, okay? So, number one, has smoking pot stopped being fun? I would have to say for me, when I am in the throes of it all the time, every day, all the time, when I'm smoking way too much and I have a high tolerance, I'm just not enjoying myself anymore. I feel like I'm chasing something that I can't catch. There's that saying to chase the dragon, in with respect to drug use, and yeah, it becomes not fun for me. So I don't know how some people want to, because I can hear the voices of denial, having known so many people in my life who are willing to defend every aspect of marijuana no matter what. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying you shouldn't have the personal liberty to do it. All the above. You should be able to. But seriously, ask yourself, has smoking pot stopped being fun? I gave you my answer. So I'll move on to number two. Do you ever get high alone? Yeah, that speaks for a lot of us, right? Like, some people might be able to manage a life where it's just a social thing once in a while. And I'm actually envious of that person who's not fully fallen into the throes of addiction. So, yeah, I got high 99% of the time. I was getting high alone. And I consider also getting high alone when you're around people who don't smoke, but you're still having to smoke to maintain your addiction. Okay, there's that word again. A million times I've mentioned in the past, people talk about marijuana addiction who are marijuana addicts, and not only is it the same batch of denial, reasons, delusions they state for why they're not, or why but they get angry because they say marijuana is not addictive or habit forming, and that's just like rubbish. It is, okay? It's not the same drug as a lot of other things, but it is. It's addictive. So number three, is it hard for you to imagine a life without marijuana? Well, by golly, there's another one I relate to that question. I yearned a lot years ago when I was smoking it all the time for sobriety and thinking that it was impossible. So do I sit there having trouble imagining life without marijuana when I'm in the throes of it? Hell yes, it feels impossible to quit for me, okay? I feel like I'm not in control of it. That's just like the way it is for me. Number four, do you find that your friends are determined by your marijuana use? That was very much true. Although, I want to qualify that I've known all kinds of people from all kinds of different walks of life. Many good people smoke marijuana, but more often than not, I would say I had friends who were marijuana smokers. We connected because of that. Heck, I think it opened up social doors for so many years of my life. I don't think the 90s would have been what they were to me if it wasn't for smoking marijuana. Tons of great friends, tons of great times, moments that were accentuated, before the darkness settled in years later with the progression of the habit and stuff. But yeah. Oh, this next one's a big one. Number five. So that's four so far that I've said yes to and related to on some level. Okay. Number five. Do you smoke marijuana to avoid dealing with your problems? All the time I did. Pretty much any time I wanted to blast my brain because I was having undesirable feelings. But you know what is sad? So any sentiment was an excuse to get high. But to avoid my problems, sure, like a million times I medicated when I wasn't happy and having trouble dealing. And you know what? It was this drive in the mind to want to do that, but it didn't help me very much. I would actually dwell and ruminate even more. 5, 10, 15 minutes in, I'm just like a ball of negativity. Okay, same sort of question, number 6. Do you smoke pot to cope with your feelings? Like I just kind of answered with number 5. To avoid dealing with problems, same sort of thing. Avoiding negative feelings, but it wound up compounding and sort of snowballing bad feelings. That's number 6. Do you smoke pot to cope with your feelings? All the time I did. And it didn't work very well, and that's why I was in a world of hurt all the time, dismayed all the time. Okay, so I'm going to go all the way through 12, and then I'm going to conclude this recording because I got to get going. I got to do something. I'm probably going to try and put these up often because I think I have a lot of redeeming stuff to offer people. But number 7. So just to review, we're halfway through to 12, and I'm all the way up to 6, and I relate heavily and think the answer is yes for me on all of the first 6. Number 7. Does your marijuana use let you live in a privately defined world? I have to think about what the hell that question means for a second. Does your marijuana use let you live in a privately defined world? I sort of think so, because I think my answer to that is yes, because I would deliberately isolate. I would smoke, and I would feel like I don't need to go out because I'm in this state of mind, and so that's my defined world. It's a world defined, in my case, especially as I got older and social connections were less and I was isolating more. Yes, the answer to that is most definitely yes. What do you say? Number 8, have you ever failed to keep promises you made about cutting down or controlling your dope smoking? Absolutely. I can think of many relationships, my marriage, past relationships with women, family members who, they wanted me to quit. And I know I've had periods when I was in the throes of smoking all the time that were very disciplined, where I could do it twice a day for a long period, and that's how I was dealing with it. And it made things a little better because when it's less excessive, I think you cope with it better. I certainly think that I did. I know that I've been with women. I've missed out on relationships because of it, and it's not just 1, 2. I can think of at least 3 women who it affected the relationship negatively, and I think things could have been better if not. And maybe I would have been a more mature person if I hadn't been relying on marijuana smoke all the time. It has to do with some kind of emotionally immature attitude about life and thinking you just have to be not in a natural state. Well, here I am, 13 months later, 13 months yesterday, straight as can be, and I've found that there's something really extremely redeeming about being sober and really investing in yourself in it and working on personal development and trying to grow as a person and just staying sober. What I got to try and do is look at that camera right there, because when I look at myself, I don't think I'm quite looking at you, but I want to have that personal connection. I want to try and inspire you to quit. Has your use, I don't know if I failed to keep promises. I don't think, I knew that I wasn't in a position to promise. I want to stay on that for 1 second and say, I never would be like, I promise to cut down, because, in fact, I would say in relationships, don't ask me to quit. I'm not quitting. You have to live with that, because I would even admit, like, it's not something I entirely felt in control of. So we're up to 8, and I relate and I answer yes to all 8 in one way or another, okay? Here we are, number 9 out of 12, okay? Has your use of marijuana caused problems with memory, concentration, or motivation? Are you kidding me? Do I really need to answer this one? And yeah, is it funny because it's so absurdly obviously true? If anyone says, no, no, it hasn't, and it makes those things better, you are lying through your teeth, Buster. Memory, are you kidding me? When I first started smoking, I used to think it was funny. It was like, how funny. I can't remember what I was thinking. And then as years pass by and you're this forgetful dullard, for me, it was very irritating not to be able to remember what I was thinking about. Having an aptitude for math and knowing that I can't retain numbers in my head to do mathematical functions. The functions I remember and understand okay somehow when I'm high, but the numbers themselves I don't retain. So do you know how annoying that is? And the other thing I would do, it's like, I need to go up to my room for a pencil. And so I don't just walk up there, because by the time I get there, I'm like, what was I thinking? I don't know what I'm going up there for. And then I'm like, okay, I go back downstairs and I'm like, oh, I needed a pencil. So I had this habit. I still sometimes do it sober just because. So I'll be walking up to my room knowing that I need to get the pencil, and between point A and B, I'm like, pencil, remember the pencil, I need the pencil, I'm going here for the pencil. One after the other, repeating in a loop like that, all the way until the pencil's in my hand and I can dismiss the loop without forgetting. Swear to God that's true. Concentration, are you kidding me? Yes, I have such a hard time concentrating on what people are saying. It's like they're speaking a foreign language. That's how I feel. I can speak some Italian and I can listen and I can understand, but that's how I feel when people are talking fast. I'm like, oh, what? It's all going by me too quickly and I can't understand. So concentration, you bet your butt. I'm like, what? What'd you just say? I don't know. Motivation, that's a mixed bag, because there are certain things creatively where so if it's like doing something you don't want to do, of course I'm not motivated when I'm high. I'm like, I don't have to do anything, I'm high. But I'll tell you what, because of the creative aspect of what marijuana brings out, I can't deny that. There have been so many times when I was madly driven. And so, okay, this is where I might divert from some of the things on this list. There have been times when marijuana made me feel creatively madly driven. And that is, honest to God, one of the things I swear I miss about it. Creative and madly driven. Both of what I said. Creatively madly driven and creative and madly driven. Do you understand the difference between those two things? If you don't, I may not want to tell you. And if you're high, you may not be able to concentrate on what I'm saying. Or you may have already forgotten, because that has to do with memory. I don't know. Number 9. So I've pretty much... Number 9. Okay, yeah, that was number 9. Number 10, when your stash is nearly empty, do you feel anxious or worried about how to get more? Hell yes! Especially before it was legalized, but it got legalized and I quit, ironically. But, you get that good hookup, but it could be days before I'm about to run out. And I'm like, oh, start calling now. And so every single time I would buy a bag, I'd always have this shake left. I'd always keep every tiny bit of shake at the end, because God forbid if you have a dry spell and you can't hook up, you're freaking out and anxious. And if you say that's not you, I doubt that. I mean, even if it's legal and I got to go over there to that place and just walk in and show them my ID and buy it, I'm anxious. I'm out. I'm almost out. Oh my God, it's 7 o'clock at night. They're closed. What the hell am I going to do? I'm too antisocial to call anybody or get any, and it's illegal when you do it like that. So, of course, all this anxiousness. Okay, I'm a little nuts right now, all right? I just feel strongly about these things. Sometimes when I start these out and riff, I'm just like, what am I going to say? But when I go with a little format here, it's like my mind is like, oh yeah, that. I have all these pre-stored ideas about what I can say. Stored in my brain, my mighty sober brain. Number 11, so yes, affirmative to that last one. Number 11, do you plan your life around marijuana use? All of these are yes. I'm quintessential marijuana addict. You got a problem with that? I'm sure some of you do. I see your reviews on those books on Amazon where you're like, those books that say, or the title is like How to Quit Smoking Marijuana. How dare someone suggest you might want to quit, or someone out there might want to quit, or that it might be bad for somebody or hurting somebody? Because by golly, all I really want is for someone to be happy and in a good state of mind, but somehow, we are relegated to traitors if we quit. Anyway, I digress. Alrighty there. You got to go with those flows of thought on the radio podcast thing. You know what I'm saying? Do you plan your life around your marijuana use? Hell freaking yes. And when it's hard to look forward to any activity when you're going to do that activity sober, whether it's work, whether it's drive, whether it's having your daughter with you when you're not supposed to smoke and you don't want to smoke because you don't want to be like stoner dad. It's hard to go to Kung Fu. It's hard to go and do anything where the thought for me isn't like, okay, well, I have that activity and then afterwards I'm getting high. Where when I'm totally sober, I'm just looking forward to the activity. So a big fat hell yes on number 11. Ding, 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 ding. Where's my bell? I want to ring my bell. Because that one hits home. Number 12, have friends or relatives ever complained that your pot smoking is damaging your relationship with them? Well, yes. It kind of goes back to what I was saying before. Failed to keep your promises. It's sort of like that. I know I've had friends. One friend I had when I was younger told me, I think pot smoking is pathetic. And it mattered a lot to me what this particular woman, lovely grown-up woman now, thinks. And I've had one of my cousins told me, Paul, you're really rubbed off and you're just not sharp like you can be. You should quit. And I know it factors into what they think of me. So is it damaging? Of course it's damaging. I think I have all kinds of relatives that because of this stigma of marijuana that persists, they won't add me as their friend on Facebook. Even though I'm sober, even though I'm pretty level-headed and I think they care about me. It's just like, oh my God, associate with the black sheep marijuana user of the family. No. So a big fat affirmative yes to all of these. And I ask you, be honest with yourself about all of these, because at the bottom it says here, if you answered yes to any of the above questions, you may have a problem with marijuana. And lo and behold, I answer yes to all of them. I'm being honest with you. I'm being real because I want others to be inspired to be real for themselves, to take a step forward and do something better. And maybe I'll do shows about how I managed to quit and this past year, I'm telling you, fitness had so much to do with my being able to quit, just discovering something new. And it's not just fitness. I mean, I'm not getting salesy. I just love Beachbody. It's fun. It's this big community of people who are crazy in love with exercising, and like I am, and it's fantastic on so many levels. So, like, if you want to get busy with exercise, if you're thinking you want to try quitting, I do suggest exercise, okay? I'm not saying, I'll give you suggestions that have nothing to do with buy anything, okay? Oh my gosh. Search YouTube for workouts you might like. 5-minute workouts. Start with 5 minutes. Start with walking. Start with whatever it is that you feel like you can get into. And I don't know, I don't want to use you have to just sort of evolve out of the habit of smoking marijuana. You can't replace the habit. You just have to learn to deal with it and enrich your life and mind in other ways. And your mind will settle after quitting. But you know what the hardest thing about quitting is? Getting to that point where you're like, oh God, that transition where the switch goes off and you're like, I'm done. I'm so over this and I want to quit. I wish I had the magic sauce to tell you how to get that pop in your head, where I was like in the shower and I had marijuana down here in my house and I was just like, I'm ready to quit again. I'm fed up. I just am fed up. After dabbling around for several weeks, after having a 10-month period without smoking, I once again was like, I have to get fed up again. So if I smoke it once right now, it's going to be this freaking tumbling back to hell. And I can't just smoke once and quit for a year. I know my mind would just be like, ugh, throbbing with the annoying pressure, addiction in my mind to do it. And that feeling sucks. But if I can overcome it, okay? Do I think I'm special necessarily? Not necessarily, okay? I'm not the greatest person in the world. I'm not so great in pointing at you and saying, haha, I'm great and you're not because you do it. Except for the vindictive part of me that might have differences with people that which have nothing to do with it. People who are good people, fundamentally good hearts, I want you to get over this thing if that's what you want. I want you to come to terms with being honest with yourself about it if you want to quit, okay? I know it's not easy. It's not easy. The first 2 to 4 weeks can be really an emotional roller coaster. I'm especially messed up 10 to 14 days into it, and I am not a fan. Believe me, I'm not a fan of that feeling. That is a shitty feeling. Quitting. People who say there's no withdrawal, hell yeah, there is. So please be honest with yourself about whether it's a problem, okay? Maybe it's not a problem for a lot of people. And people do have valid medical reasons why they should be able to make that free personal choice. I am still diehard libertarian. I don't think it should be illegal. I don't think the government should be up in your face about doing it. So don't give me any of this malarkey how I'm anti-marijuana or something. I have a great deal of experience with marijuana. Okay? And that's not bragging. I just know enough now. And I'm gaining wisdom. And I'm not condescending to you. I'm trying to be passionate. I'm trying to shake you and say, come on, do it. If you think you need to do it, do it. Snap. Have that moment where there's that delineation, where you know you go down that separate path. I know it's good for you. I know it's good for you if you're having the feelings like I told you, that you're yearning for sobriety. If you can't remember what it's like to be sober, you probably have a problem if you can't remember. I forgot what it was like to be sober. And you know the stresses I have now? I will think, oh, it'd be nice to smoke a bowl. But you know the stresses I have now? That's just normal life. And it's different for everybody. I know certain people suffer and they're in more turmoil than me. Because somehow I get sober and I'm like, hey, I'm dealing better with all the aspects of life. Even the negative shit, I'm usually dealing with it worlds and worlds better. I need to get going, actually. I'm going to go see my friend. We're going to have a dinner. We're going to eat something. And that's pretty much all we're going to do. And when it's all, I'm going to say good night. I'm going to come home. I'm going to get a good night's sleep. Probably post this video up for you to see. I'm Paul from FitSpaz Radio. And this is FitSpaz Recovery. Check out FitSpaz.com and get involved in fitness, okay? I want you to take a walk tomorrow. I want you to listen to music, and I want you to think about what I'm saying. Even if you have to get high to think about what I'm saying, just think about what I'm saying. I will not be deprived of you thinking about what I'm saying if it can be good for you. Okay. I get nuts. I like having a list. The whole time thing fills in nicely, but I got to get going. It's 23 minutes in. I'll see you guys sometime next week. I'm going to do a FitSpaz Radio where I just talk about fitness. Maybe invite my friend, Coach Brian, over here to do it with me. Take care, everybody. I'll talk to you later.